Hello, I'm Clifton Puckett. This assignment is the EDLD 7430 interview assignment, fall 2013. I interviewed Megan Youngblood. She's the assistant director of student life at Georgia Highlands College. Educational background: she received her Bachelor's of Arts in English from the University of Central Arkansas. She went straight on then to complete her Master's of Science in Higher Education Administration and Student Affairs, also from UCA. During the time that she was working on her Master's at UCA, she was also the graduate assistant in the Office of Student Affairs at the University of Central Arkansas. While there, she usually worked a lot with the orientations, did a lot of kind of just administrative work around the office, kind of getting the feel for how a student affairs office runs. She's also an orientation intern for a couple of summers at Dalton State College, and that's kind of her foot in the door. How she kind of got into the Georgia realm of higher education. She was a NODA intern, National Orientation Directors Association. It's pretty prestigious, kind of hard to get. And I think one of the waxes of getting that is that you kind of have to go anywhere they tell you. So that's how she got from Arkansas to Dalton. After that, this is when she became the assistant director of student life at Georgia Highlands. Kind of outside of work, she was also a customer service manager at Walmart. As you might not know, Walmart's central office is right there in Conway, Arkansas, whereas UCA is. So it's kind of how she got there. How she got into higher education, she kind of got a feel for it when she was a freshman, kind of decided that's the way she wanted to go. Jokingly, she said she got into higher education because she couldn't get a job in English, with an English degree. I myself have an English degree, and I kind of sympathize with her, but she did say higher education is something she kind of always wanted to get into since her freshman year of college. So it wasn't like she graduated and was like, I can get a job, and then I guess I'll go work at college. She kind of wanted to do it from the beginning. The best parts of the job for her, I asked her, I said, what's your two best things? What's your two worst things? Best parts for her, she said, working with students. To her, college was the best part of her life and her experience, and she wanted to share that experience with others. And we kind of elaborated on that. I said, how many of your friends from high school do you still talk to? And she was like, maybe two. And I said, how many of your friends from college do you still talk to? And she said, a lot more. And that's kind of something I've kind of realized and kind of learned throughout the years, is that the friends you gain in college are the ones you're going to stick with you more than high school. Definitely true for me. I think a lot of people have that as well, even if you go to a community college like Georgia Highlands. Second best part of her job is flexibility. It's laid back at times. As probably you all know, when you work in higher education, there's busy times and there's slow times. But the slow times really afford some flexibility. Worst parts of her job, cutting someone's budget. As the assistant director, she is in charge of the budget for the Office of Student Life. So she's the one that has to make the decisions whose budget is going to get cut, whose is going to increase, or who's going to stay. That's her call. It's hard. She doesn't like doing it. No one likes getting their budget cut, and she hates to be the one to tell them. Second worst part of her job, we're not working the regular 8 to 5 hours. It's fun having that flexibility, but when you work in student life and student affairs, a lot of times you have to work nights and weekends, and sometimes that's not really a whole lot of fun. I also kind of just asked her if she was satisfied with her job and her career choice. For the most part, yes, she said. There's not a lot of money in it, and there are days when you kind of realize you could probably make more, especially with your education. But the things that you love about working in higher education, i.e., students, working with students, are things you can't do anywhere else. So that's kind of the crux of what makes the job fun, what makes it enjoyable, and makes it worthwhile. As far as the future aspirations, she would love to be a dean of students or a VP of student affairs. She's definitely on the right track for that. As far as the department goes, the mission of student life is fostering positive learning experiences outside the classroom through leadership, entertainment, and activities. And that's something, you come to college. Obviously, the academics are important, but you gain friends, you get a catharsis through activities outside, student activities, entertainment, intramurals. Student life offers, they have musicians every week, they do fun little crafts things, they can make your own soda pop, make your own candles, stuff like that. She is also, part of her duties are also, she's the director of the Student Center on the Cartersville campus, and we have a gaming area, gym, weight room, stuff like that. So she's kind of in charge of that. The organizational structure of the Student Affairs Office is pretty direct, pretty straightforward. Not a whole lot of professional staff. Vice President of Student Affairs, Georgia Highlands, is Dr. Todd Jones. Director of Student Life, the Assistant Director of Student Life, Coordinator of Student Life, and the Orientation Coordinator. Obviously, everyone reports to the VP. The Director, he's in charge of kind of getting all the activities going, organizing that. Assistant Director, that's Megan. She's mostly in charge of budgeting. She has a lot to do with that, and programming at her own campus. Coordinator of Student Life, she more or less runs all the programming on our southern campuses, Douglasville and Paulding. And the Orientation Coordinator, that title kind of describes itself. But there's also 2 part-time intramural assistants. One on the Floyd, one on the Cartersville campus. Their main job at Georgia Highlands is their coaches. One's assistant basketball coach, one's the head softball coach. They also part-time run the intramural program, and that's something I kind of get into here in a minute or two. The budget status of Georgia of the Student Life. They cut 5% this current fiscal year to help manage a decrease in enrollment. Interesting thing about that, the Georgia Highlands as a whole institution enrollment was down, but the Cartersville campus enrollment was up. So you kind of feel like it's unfair that Cartersville, we have to decrease in our budget when we went up in enrollment. But we're all part of the same institution. We all share this team mentality. We have to take the hit just like everyone else. And currently, the main budget cuts in student life are going to come out of orientation and intramurals. The most dire financial need. The 2 I just mentioned, they're taking the biggest hit, orientation and intramural. Orientation is obviously an important aspect of college experience. It helps get kids acclimated, but it's also, when it comes to budget cuts, it seems to be one of the first ones to take the hit. Intramural programs, the same way. Well-rounded program, students love it, and I came from a background in intramurals, so obviously I feel it's a need, but when it comes to budget talks, intramurals is always the first one to take the hit because it's seen as the least important. The biggest accomplishments in the last 5 years from the Office of Student Life are definitely the success of student organizations and how they help the community. The Brother organization, which is a organization of minority males who help each other with tutoring, and just kind of being there for each other, has done a terrific job. They won national awards, national accolades, and they kind of base their operations out of the Cartersville campus, and they do all their funding through the Office of Student Life, and they've been very successful. I really love what they do. I'm involved in it as well, just kind of as a mentor, part-time staff. Green Highlands also does a lot for the community. We have one of the highways they've adopted right around the school. They also go out in the community and do a lot of green funding and stuff like that. So they've done a lot of good stuff in the community. The biggest difficulty is kind of a difficulty I think is facing all of higher education at the moment, and that is an uncertainty of enrollment. Just last year, Georgia Highlands was one of the few schools in USG that saw an increase in enrollment. This year, as I mentioned before, overall the institution is down. Cartersville campus is up, but as an institution we're down. So we kind of get that ebb and flow. We're up and down, up and down, and that's hard when it comes to budgeting because we all know enrollment is directly tied to the funding. So enrollment's down, the funding is going to be down. So that uncertainty that really affects student life, how they can manage their budget, what they're going to budget for. It's hard to budget when you don't know what your enrollment is going to be. Future plans, they want to reformat the orientation. Currently, orientation is only about 2 hours. But we're currently in the middle of reformatting that, and they're working with us in admissions a little bit in doing that. And they also want to institute an orientation fee. It's going to kind of help with the funding a little bit there. Also, on the Floyd campus, they want to remodel the student center. Personally, when I asked her what she saw was her major issue in higher education, to her, she thought was institutions focused more on numbers, i.e., money, 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 and stop caring for the individual. Admit students aren't ready for college just to get their money. The fact of the matter is, not everyone is college material. Georgia Highlands, I know we're that's an issue we've addressed in the past. We really kind of batten down on our admission standards in order to make sure we are admitting students that only should be admitted. But I know there are several colleges, especially in the technical college level and other community college, that they just want to admit students and get their money. And not everyone's ready for college. Not everyone should go to college. But everyone should be afforded the opportunity, yes, and I'm glad that education is more accessible nowadays. But you also got to realize not everyone is ready for it. As far as this interview goes, I thought it was great to hear her point of view. It's nice to see point of views at different offices, and I thought it was wonderful. A lot of hers are similar to admissions, especially on that last point, issues in higher education. You know, we kind of saw that people are being admitted that need to be admitted, and we addressed it. I worked for her when I first broke into Georgia Highlands, and I loved it. Came through as intramurals, and I helped a lot for student activities and student affairs. And it was a great department. It was great working for her. I was kind of sad to go, but you know, needed a job, so got to go where that is. Other than that, I mean, it was a great assignment. I had a lot of fun doing it. Full disclosure, she wasn't my first pick for an interviewee. I wanted to interview the dean of the campus, but I was on my honeymoon, didn't have time to book couldn't really book around the for the interview, so I went to Megan. But other than that, that's it for my assignment. Hope you all enjoyed it, and good luck on all yours and the rest of the semester.